One of the most unexpected examples of a diaspora community can be found in the South Pacific, in Fiji. Fiji is the home of over 314,000 indo-fijians, who make up roughly 38% of the country's population. This community has retained its native religion of Hinduism and speaks a unique dialect of Hindi known as Fiji Hindi. The fact that a community exists over 7,000 miles away from its native land on a faraway island chain sparks the question, why are there Indians in Fiji? Europeans first visited Fiji in the 17th century. By the 1860s, European settlers had established cotton and sugarcane plantations there. Britain annexed Fiji in 1874. The first royal governor of Fiji was Sir Arthur Gordon. Gordon viewed himself as the protector of the natives of Fiji. He defended Fijians against exploitation and land occupation, and he restored traditional political structures. In order to safeguard the Fijians, while also making the colony economically viable, Gordon encouraged the importation of Indian laborers to work on the island's plantations. Slavery was abolished in the British Empire in 1833. The Indian indenture system began in the early 19th century as a substitute for slave labor. The system saw great success in other British colonies, such as Mauritius, Guyana, and Trinidad, and Gordon sought to replicate that success in Fiji. The first Indian laborers arrived in Fiji in 1879. Life on the sugarcane plantations was hard, and the system resembled slavery. British protests against the practice brought the system of indentured servitude to an end by 1916, by which point 60,000 Indians had come to work in Fiji. After the end of their contracts, many laborers chose to stay in Fiji because they often could not afford to return to India. These indo-Fijians leased plots of land or opened businesses in towns and developed their own culture. A lingua franca, Fiji Hindi, evolved from the previous dialects spoken by indo-Fijians and incorporated Fijian and English words. By the 1940s, indo-Fijians made up the majority of the population of Fiji, and they maintained their majority until events in the 1980s and 2000s caused indo-Fijian emigration. Fiji won their independence from Britain in 1970. Ethnic tensions between native Fijians and indo-Fijians were high. Indo-Fijians were viewed as disloyal by the native Fijians. Indo-Fijians refused to serve in the Second World War due to the fact that they were paid less than European soldiers, and they refused to cut sugarcane for low prices. When an Indo-Fijian-backed party won the election in 1987, a military coup was held. A new constitution was written guaranteeing a native Fijian-dominated government, which caused many Indo-Fijians to leave the country. In 1999, Fiji elected their first Indo-Fijian prime minister, Mahendra Chaudhry. This was followed by two coups d'etats in 2000 and 2006, sparking further Indo-Fijian emigration. Despite these events, Indo-Fijians still make up a sizable minority in Fiji, numbering roughly 314,000. The fact that Indo-Fijians have maintained their unique culture despite the hardships that they have faced, and while being isolated from their native land for nearly 150 years, is remarkable. The Indo-Fijians are a surprising example of a diasporic group that has maintained their identity, while also adapting it to life in a foreign land, which they now call home. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe to support more videos like this. See you in the next video.